Deep within whispering woods, where sunbeams danced through the leaves and the streams sang a gentle song, lived a little squirrel named Squeaky. Now, Squeaky wasn't just any squirrel. He was the bravest, the quickest, and perhaps the most curious squirrel in the entire forest. But he had one tiny problem. He was a bit of a worrier. While other squirrels played games of chase and chattered on branches, Squeaky was always busy, gathering acorns. He had more acorns than any other squirrel, hidden in a dozen different hollows, but still, he worried. What if the winter was extra long? What if a sneaky badger found his stash? His mind was always racing, leaving him little time to enjoy the beauty of his home. One sunny afternoon, as Squeaky was meticulously burying his 1074th acorn of the season, he saw a glimmer of light from beneath the roots of an ancient oak tree. It wasn't the usual shimmer of a dewdrop or a shiny pebble. This was a warm, pulsating glow, gold and green and blue all at once. His curiosity finally won over his caution. He dug and dug, his little paws a blur, until he unearthed the source of the light. It was an acorn, but unlike any he had ever seen. Its shell shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow, and it felt warm to the touch. He knew, with a certainty he couldn't explain, that this was no ordinary acorn. This was a magic acorn. Holding it carefully, Squeaky felt a strange sensation. A voice that wasn't a sound, but a feeling, a thought that bloomed in his mind. "Make a wish," the feeling whispered. Squeaky's heart thumped. A wish. His first thought, of course, was acorns. More acorns than he could ever count. "I wish," he chittered aloud, "for a pile of acorns so big it reaches the highest branch of this oak tree." Poof! In a flash of golden light, a mountain of acorns appeared before him. It was magnificent. It towered over him, a fortress of nutty goodness. Squeaky scrambled to the top, his worries melting away. He would never be hungry again. He was the richest squirrel in the world. He spent the rest of the day rolling in his acorn mountain, laughing and tossing them into the air. But as dusk fell, a new feeling crept in. Loneliness. His friends, Pip and Nutmeg, had come by earlier, calling for him to play tag, but he'd been too busy admiring his treasure. Now the woods were quiet. The giant pile of acorns didn't laugh with him. It didn't tell him stories or race him to the berry bush. It was just a pile. A huge, silent, lonely pile. Squeaky sat atop his mountain, the magic acorn still in his paws, and felt a pang of sadness. All the acorns in the world couldn't replace a friend. The next morning, Squeaky looked at his acorn mountain with different eyes. It was more of a wall than a treasure, separating him from the rest of the forest. He saw Pip and Nutmeg trying to gather their own nuts, and a thought struck him. He held the magic acorn tight. "I wish," he said, his voice small but clear, "that all these extra acorns were shared with every squirrel in Whispering Woods." With another flash, this time a gentle silver light, the giant mountain vanished. Instead, all over the forest, every squirrel's nest and every hollow was suddenly filled with a perfect winter supply of acorns. A cheer erupted through the woods. Squirrels chattered in delight, popping out of their homes to see the wonderful surprise. A moment later, Pip and Nutmeg scrambled up the old oak tree to where Squeaky was sitting. "Squeaky, did you see?" cried Pip. "It's a miracle." Nutmeg added, "We have enough food for the whole winter. Now we have all the time in the world to play." They didn't know he was responsible, and Squeaky didn't tell them. He just smiled, a real genuine smile that reached his eyes. Having all the acorns in the world was nothing compared to the warmth of friendship. As the days turned into weeks, Squeaky became a different squirrel. He still gathered acorns, but he no longer worried. He spent his afternoons playing, exploring, and laughing with his friends. He learned to bake berry tarts with Beatrice the Badger and listened to old tales from Oliver the Owl. The forest was full of wonders he'd never noticed before. He kept the magic acorn, not to make more wishes, but as a reminder of his important lesson. But the acorn had one more surprise for him. One day, while exploring a part of the woods he'd never seen, he and his friends came across a clearing where all the trees were bare. A fire had passed through long ago, leaving the earth scarred and barren. The animals who lived there looked thin and sad. There were no nuts, no berries, no life. Squeaky's heart ached for them. He knew what he had to do. He looked at Pip and Nutmeg, and they seemed to understand. He took out the shimmering magic acorn for the final time. He held it up to the sun, its colors shining brightly. "I don't wish for a treasure for myself, or even for my friends," he said, his voice full of a new kind of courage. "I wish for this forest to be healed. I wish for it to be full of life and food for everyone forever." This time, the light that burst from the acorn was not gold or silver, but a pure, brilliant white. It spread across the clearing like a wave, and where it touched, life bloomed. Tiny saplings sprouted from the ash, growing into strong young trees in mere moments. Berry bushes burst forth, heavy with fruit. Flowers carpeted the ground in a riot of color. The scarred land was transformed into the most beautiful part of the entire woods. The animals there cheered, their eyes wide with wonder and gratitude. And the magic acorn, its job finally done, faded from a shimmering rainbow into a simple, ordinary acorn. Squeaky planted it in the center of the new grove. He knew that even without its magic, the greatest treasures were the ones you share. From that day on, he was known not just as Squeaky, but as Squeaky the Wise, the squirrel who learned that a full heart is worth more than a full pantry. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more wonderful stories.